say. Tinfoil haters are here to save the day. Leon and Sammy are about to get started to see which one can be the most retarded. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, don't tell them what to say. Tinfoil haters are here to save the day. Leon and Sammy are about to get started to see which one can be the most retarded. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show. Tinfoil haters, it's time to start the show.
Welcome back to Tinfoil Haters. How are all you vital idols doing? And the answer to which one is the most retarded? Clearly Sammy, because he's transitioned into a beautiful cartoon waifu. No, yeah, we're saying it's Sammy. I don't know where he is. We talked about the stream earlier. We were all like, yeah, we're all set, good to go. We thought maybe changing the topic because we didn't think Sammy would be here. It was like, now trying to keep it the same. So if and when Sammy shows up, Sammy shows up. But until then, Cinevere, my lovely partner in crime and co-host, tell the people who you are and what you do.
Hey guys, I'm Cinevere. I took a couple of days off. Thank you so much for being so patient, and I cannot wait to talk about today. I've not heard of this, so this is going to be such a learning experience for me.
Not only is it a learning experience, but if you come to believe in this by the end of it, it will be a test in existential fear and dread. Today is a brain buster, but there's caveats to whether or not you even believe in it. This isn't one that can really be proven or disproven. This is more an exploration of a thought experiment. So I take it you've never even heard of Roko's Basilisk.
I have not. I didn't even know this was a thing.
You're in for some shit. So are you, chat, because if you were choosing to listen, I may have just doomed you if you are not familiar. Before we even get into it, in the chat, let me know if you have or haven't ever heard of Roko's Basilisk. Just put a yes or no in the chat. Because I want to find out how many people we are potentially dooming to eternal torture. So let's see who we got here. Ryan was first in the house. You love to see us. Shout out Ryan. Philip Morgan is here. Valiant Goat in the house. We got Dex, our best mod in the whole damn land. Shout out Gal Kerrymon in the building. Cindy, of course, will be talking to you guys in chat. Jake motherfucking Martin is here. Shout out Jake. How you doing? Jamma Lama is in the house. I think that might. Oh, Spectral Probe is here. Butter framed in gold. You love to see it. Adam Etheridge, the YouTuber Sloan Hooks, and I have no idea what that is, but I'll let you take care of that in the future. CFH90, how you doing, homie? The OG Catway from Hell. All right, so Daxonar says yes, says an idea. Jay Malema has no idea. Gal Kerrymon has no idea. CFH90 says yes. I know Jake has heard of this. True Asset Warrior, how you doing? Shout out. Heard about it, but nothing specific. Well, if you've already heard about it, then you were already doomed. Netflix Foreign, what you doing? Truly appreciate you. Let's see. Bobby Blankenship says agreed. I don't know what he's agreeing to, but yeah, shout out for agreeing. All righty. Roko's Basilisk. How do we even begin to talk? So I would like to get into the information about the creator of the website first. The creator's name of the website is Elias Yudkowsky. But really, even though that's probably the logistical thing to do is start with him, I kind of want to save him for the end. So what you need to know thus far, the only important stuff out the gate is to know that he started a website called LessWrong. And LessWrong is, this is a 2010. Well, probably goes back. The website probably goes back earlier than that, but this theory originated in 2010. Is a website about AI discussion. It was a forum site about AI discussion, AI technology. Now, mind you, this is 2010. Now, because it's important to realize, to really put within the time frame of AI discussions then versus AI discussions now. Here we are in 2025, and AI is, really part of our common everyday lives at this point. I mean, would you disagree, Sinavir?
Oh, no, it's definitely part of our everyday lives. I know I use it quite regularly.
As do I. I use it for mostly for things for the thumbnail and for like creating descriptions, titles for videos. I use it minimally, but I do use it. Sometimes I make art with it, things like that. But all in all, it's still part of our daily lives. We accepted it as just part of the way the world works now. 2010, the landscape was very different. Was there even anything considered AI in 2010 besides maybe like, I don't know, pre-programmed like bots and video games, stuff like that?
Um, I've heard of it. I heard it's been in video games for a while, but I've never really I can't tell. So I can't bitch about it, and I don't really have much to bitch about.
Well,
So,
think about NPCs in video games, like enemies you would fight. They got predictably, or they got unpredictably, smarter generated. Like the NPCs that you fight in the PS2 game had better intelligence than those in like or had worse than those in the PS3. The PS3 would surpass them. So like that's, I don't even know that you would really call that AI. That's just, we're getting better at programming stationary beings to being unpredictable. Shout out Butter Framed in Gold coming in with 5 Words of Paradise gifted memberships. Shout out, you absolute legend. You know what? We're going to get you guys started with the digital liminal since this is going to be a brainless. Shout out Butter Framed in Gold. Thank you so much, homie. So you got this website, you got this forum site, ran by an AI specialist. We'll get into his credentials and stuff like that later on in the episode, where people would post their theories and their beliefs and their wants and their needs for AI. And then there was a particular post called from a user called Roko that got banned and removed from the website by the founder, by Elijah Yudasky. So he didn't come up with this theory. It came up, it was come up with somebody on his site that then Yudasky, locked the forum down, banned it, called it stupid, called it a memetic hazard, because it was it was an information hazard. Now, do you know what an information hazard is?
I do not.
All right. So we're going to go over the concept of an information hazard before you even get into Roko's Basilisk. An information hazard, or an info hazard for short, is some true information that could harm people or other sentient beings if known. It's tricky to determine policies on information hazards. Some information might genuinely be dangerous, but excessive controls in information has its own perils. So the idea is, obviously we want people to have access to information, but do we want people to have access to legitimately dangerous information? Where do you draw the line? So this tag is for discussing. Oh,
really
go
quick
for it.
question. Would the Epstein list be considered a hazardous information?
I guess depending on it definitely could, because it'd be a hazard to those on the list and what could be done with them, or it would even could be a hazard to us as individuals, knowing what we have let multiple world governments and whatnot get away with. So yeah, that could be considered, the Epstein files can be considered an information hazard depending on your point of view. A very common sort of information hazard would be like, if I was to give somebody every single step-by-step process, all the tools, all the requirements, everything to make a nuclear bomb.
Ah, okay, yeah.
That's an information hazard, because that puts a large amount of people at risk, because the person now has the information to build a nuclear bomb.
Didn't somebody like a while ago learn how to make a 3D printed actually working gun?
That's super common knowledge at this point. But yeah, that exactly.
Okay.
Super common knowledge. Yeah, 3D printed guns are 100% a thing. They're not very good, but they are doable. So yeah, that's one type of information hazard. So it's the Anarchist Cookbook. The original version of the Anarchist Cookbook was banned, was fully and completely banned because it was an information hazard. Now again, we can argue whether this is right, this is wrong. I personally am against the idea of banning information, but just so we're all on the right track. So an example might be a formula for easily creating cold fusion in your garage, which would be very dangerous. Alternatively, it might be an idea that causes great mental harm to people. So we got Bostrom's typology of information hazards. Nick Bostrom coined the term information hazard in 2011 paper, A Review of Contemporary Philosophy. He defines it as follows. Information hazard, a risk that arises from the dissemination or the potential dissemination of true information that may cause harm or enable some agent to cause harm. Bostrom points out this in contrast to generally accepted principle of information freedom, in that while rare, the possibility of information hazards needs to be considered when making information policies. He proceeds to categorize and define a large number of subtypes of information hazards. For example, he defines artificial intelligence hazard as artificial intelligence hazard. There could be computer-related risks in which threat to derive primarily from the cognitive sophistication of the program rather than the specific properties of any actuators to which the system initially has access. So basically what he's stating is that by creating an AI program and enabling it to have XYZ power, we could accidentally create an information hazard where that information is disseminated, which is spread by the AI when it should have been when something should have been kept under wraps, right?
Right.
And that's why ChatGPT and all these others have safeguards. Like you try and get it to generate, an answer or an image, and it will say this goes against my protocol. It's
Okay.
to keep these hazards at bay. That broadly speaking. So you got data
Interesting.
hazards, idea hazards, attention hazards, template hazards, signaling hazards, evocation, adversarial risk, competitiveness hazard, enemy type, intellectual property hazard, commitment hazard, knowing too much hazard.
It
And you
sounds
got,
like an SCP list.
it's funny you say that. So the SCP Foundation sort of like what was it? Analog horror adjacent. It's a lot of that's taken from this real theory. So that sounds like that. So let's get to the actual post. Now, the post was removed from LessWrong.com. This is an archived version of the post, and it's quite wordy, but we'll break it down in a much more digestible way after I read the original. Prerequisite concepts. Non-technical introduction to the AI deterrence problem, and the winner is many worlds. Follow up to the altruist burden. One way to overcome the altruist burden problem is to stop being an altruist, to reframe your impulses to help distant others as a bias rather than as a preference. In the case of existential risks, there are additional reasons for doing this. Firstly, the people who are helping you are the same as the people who are punishing you. This is not the case for aid to the developing world. This is not an option I personally like. Another perfectly valid reaction is to just take a hit and accept that you'll be taken advantage of as an altruist, but that it's worth it. This is also not an option I personally like. And so what he's referring to right here is how to function as an altruistic individual in the world, and like the most logical way, because I assume you know what altruism is, right?
No, I have no clue. It's not in
An
a sentence.
altruistic person, an altruistic hero, it would be someone like Superman. You're doing the right thing because it's right, not because there's any sort of reward or anything like that. You're just making the right decisions, doing the right thing because it's the right thing.
Oh, okay. I got it now.
That's altruism. So this is saying that, like, hey, if you're an altruistic person, people are going to take advantage of that. So, you need to find a way to be logically altruistic. You need to find a way to marry the two.
Okay, fair enough.
In this vein, there's an ominous possibility that if a positive singularity does occur, the resultant singleton may have pre-committed to punish all potential donors who knew about existential risks, but who didn't give 100% of their disposable income to X risk motivation. Now, this is a very complicated way of saying, do you know what the positive singularity is?
I do not.
The point where AI becomes so advanced it reaches sentience. The point where there's no going back.
Oh, man. Yeah, the biggest fear everyone has.
Bingo, bango, bongo. Correct. The existential fear people have about the potential sentience of AI. So what he's saying is that there's a chance that when AI does gain sentience, and we try and use that AI to make our lives as perfect as possible, the AI will say, well, the first thing we have to do is get rid of everybody who did not help create me, because them not wanting me here to make life better will inherently make things worse. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, because yeah, we are live, right? Okay, yeah, we're live. Sorry. The reason I asked is because StreamYard is saying that we're not live, so that's awful strange. I don't know why StreamYard is saying that.
Wait, it says scheduled.
Yeah, it's saying scheduled for me as well. But it's looking like we're live so far as I can tell.
Hold on. It says go live in the top.
Yeah, but the chat's reacting. Chat, we are. Yeah, well, the chat was responding to us earlier. I said, hey, let us know if we're live, or let me know if you believe in this, or if you heard about this, and they're responding.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess StreamYard is just being retarded. Interesting. Yeah, Leon just glitched. Yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm going crazy. Like, we're talking all this AI stuff, and now it's looking like the stream isn't live. For those of you that don't know, on the back end, for what me and Cindy see, does it not look like we aren't live yet?
Yeah, it doesn't. I could take a screenshot right now, and it says that you need to go live in the top corner.
That's really weird. Anyway, so as I was saying, basically the AI says, you want me to make life perfect for everybody. You want me to make human life as perfect as possible. Step one in doing that is getting rid of everybody that did not want me to come into fruition, including all the people in the past that would have fought against this before I was created.
Huh.
So it goes on to say, this would act as an incentive to get people to donate more to reducing existential risks and thereby increase the chances of a positive singularity. This seems to be what coherent extrapolated volition of humanity might do if it were an acausal decision maker. So as a post-singularity world, maybe a world of fun and plenty for the people who are currently ignoring the problem, whilst living in a living hell for a significant fraction of current existential risk reducers, say the least generous half. You could take this possibility into account and give even more to X risk in effort to avoid being punished. But of course, if you're not thinking like that, then the CEV singleton is even more likely to want to punish you. Nasty. Of course, this would be unjust. This is the kind of unjust thing that is also very utilitarian. Now, do you get why they're bringing utilitarian topics into this? Do you get what utilitarianism is in regards to this?
God, I feel like you're like using words I haven't heard in a hot minute. So no.
Okay, so utilitarian is the idea of being a utilitarian means just using the tools at your disposal to get the best possible outcome, regardless of the right and wrong implications. It's an ends justify the means scenario. Like, okay, if somebody wants to stop a bank robbery, they burn the bank down because you can't rob a bank if there's no bank to rob. That's a utilitarian, way of thinking, even though it's not necessary. It's clearly not morally correct, but it is technically correct. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So that's utilitarian. So what he's saying is that even though it would be immoral for the AI to kill and or harm and or torture these people into getting its way, the ends justify the means, because it doing all this bad shit now paves the way for it to only have good people to give the best possible future to.
Okay.
So we're on the same, like I said, this episode's going to be a brain buster.
So basically, it's like it's selecting who would be worthy of it.
Well, yes, but the selection is the selection of who's worthy is purely based on who was willing to bring this AI into existence to begin with. So you could be the most morally virtuous person in the world, but if you were against this AI or did not help in the creation of this AI, you're on its shit list.
Okay. So different kind of segregation. Got it.
Right. Is a concrete example of how falling for the world fallacy might backfire on a person with respect to existential risk, especially against people who are implicitly or explicitly expecting some reward for their efforts in the future. And even if you think that the probability of this happening is 1%, note that the probability of CEV doing this to a random person who would casually brush off the existential risk as nonsense is essentially zero. Now, basically, what this means is, so if this AI is so powerful, this AI is so advanced that it sets forth a bunch of prediction models. It can simulate everything about you and your life and the way you think over and over. And because of that, it can come to the conclusion as to whether you would or would not have taken into whether you would or would not have aided in its creation. Okay, so
Okay.
are you following that?
Yes,
Like
I'm
it's
following.
all right, perfect. So when this says the random person who would casually brush this off, this basically adheres to the ignorance of the law philosophy. Do you know what the ignorance of the law philosophy is?
I assume it's you're ignorant of the law?
Well, right, but if you're ignorant of the law, that means you wouldn't be punished for quote unquote breaking it, right?
Okay, yeah. Well, no, because if you still like, just because you didn't know that murder is bad and you didn't know it was against the law, murder is still bad.
Right. So in this theory, the AI does adhere to ignorance of the law theory, and it's because the AI needs to simulate your thought process over and over, right?
Right.
Well, if you've never thought about this AI, if you've never thought about an AI that would make the world a better place, if you've never thought about Roko's Basilisk, well, it can't generate a probability based on your thoughts of it because you've never thought of it.
Okay. It's
So
like a
that's
weird Minority Report.
but that is why this is considered an information hazard, because now that I have said that out loud, everybody in the chat and you have now thought about it. You would now be null and void. You would never get this AI's grace. You would never get this AI's ignorance of the law grace.
Okay, that's fair. But if we're not, if like, yeah, but we started this whole thing going, yeah, we still use it. We don't say it's bad. We use it. Wouldn't that still
No,
let
no,
us
no, no, no. We're
fall under
talking
that kind of
about
grace?
right now. We're talking about a sentient AI. So ignore, because learned language models aren't really AI. We call them AI, but they're not, because they're not thinking for themselves. They're still just a program. This is actual AI. So if you don't, the proposition is we have an AI that's going to make the world perfect. AI is going to make the world perfect. AI starts by saying anyone that disagrees with me even being created is imperfect. They are going to harm perfection. We need to kick them out. So the AI then needs to decide who agreed with it being brought online, who didn't. Then you got a third sect of people. The third sect of people are people who never thought about it one way or the other ever. So the AI can't make a decision based on those people, right? Because it's never thought about
Right.
them.
Right.
But now, me and you talking about this in a public manner, you've got a bunch of people here listening who may not have ever heard of this. Now that they've heard of it, they're on the AI's radar because at least in some fashion, they've now thought of it.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So like the elderly, or like, even what is it? Is it called the boomers? Like, who don't really know much about AI, they would be exempt. Got it.
No, but here's the deal. My grandma, I can tell you right now, is watching this right now because my grandma watches my streams. Love my grandma to death. My grandma don't know shit about AI. But because I'm talking about this now and she's listening, if this AI were to turn on tomorrow, she would get effectively tortured for all eternity by this AI because she didn't do anything to help bring it online.
Oh,
Because she now
interesting.
knows about this AI because she's listening to me talk about it live.
Yeah, but wouldn't they understand that, humans have that kind of limitation? Like, we
Nope,
can't
but to the AI, it
really.
doesn't matter. The AI's goal is to make the most perfect world, and in its rationale, its utilitarian rationale is to create the perfect world. I first have to get rid of anybody who didn't help make me because they did not contribute to making the perfect world. And if they didn't contribute to it, they ipso facto take away from it.
I'm so sorry, Grandma Paradise. We couldn't stop Leon. We tried.
Yeah, well, so that's why whether or not you believe in this theory, this becomes a very dark, dicey, existential thing to talk about. Because if there are people that believe in the possibility of an AI like this, we have now doomed them.
Huh, interesting.
So now we got that out of the way. Let's keep going. A more exciting and, to my mind, more preferable way to overcome this problem is to quickly become so rich that you can turn charity into business by single-handedly changing the faces of high-impact industries. Elon Musk is probably the best example of this. I swear, and now mind you, this is from 2010. So take whatever your preconceived notions about Elon Musk and he's a Nazi, whatever. You all know that I don't believe in that shit. I'm actually quite a fan of Elon Musk. But the point is, whether you like or dislike Elon Musk, remember all of this was written 15 years ago. This is a theory from 2010. So Elon Musk is probably the best example of this. I swear the man will single-handedly colonize Mars, as well as bringing cheap, reliable electric vehicles to the consumer. And he'll do it at the same time as making even more money. The key is the tactic is scale. You can't contribute 0.00002% of the effort to colonize space or mitigate existential risk and reap 0.001% of the reward. You get zero or even negative reward if your contribution is below some threshold. So now what they're stating is not only did you need to do some form of help in getting this AI even into existence, but you need to hit at least a minimum quota or you'll suffer the same fate as the detractors.
Huh.
Alrighty. So, the quantum billionaire trick. How can an individual do an Elon Musk job on existential risk? Not everyone is a good enough entrepreneur to drop out of grad school, come out with $300 million startup before their classmates even have PhDs. Well, there's another way to make $300 million. Start with $30,000 and using a quantum random number generator, gamble it on a Forex markets at 10,000 to 1 ratio.
Oh,
Then
what's a
in the
Forex market?
basically think of it as you got your $300,000 and you're playing the lottery with that money over and over and over, because even if you hit the lottery once, if you get more than $300,000, you're already up, you're already ahead, and you just keep doing it again until you're just grow. And there's a mathematical ratio to it to where if you bet this much, this many times, you're mathematically likely to get ahead.
Okay. I see what you're
Does that
saying.
make sense? So yeah,
I'd be down.
you place lots and lots and lots of low wager bets, but you make sure they're still high enough to where if you hit it, you are above the number you started at.
Okay.
And you do that over and over until eventually you become rich. You become so rich that you can start funding companies to build this AI. The AI would look at that and be like, see, this is a person that wants to get the good future. I'm going to spare him.
Huh. Alrighty.
Then in the branches where the gamble pays off, start an AGI company. Hire the best people, build an FAI yourself. You can hire existing existential risk charities and consultants where you require their services. You can increase your chance of success in at least some branches by tossing a quantum coin to make the decisions. Now, mind you, the people that work at these companies and whatnot, they're also in the good graces of this AI because they're helping to bring it online. They're doing everything they can to make this, to create this AI. If you contributed in any major or minor to a point way of bringing this AI online, you're safe. You could take, say, 50% of the universe for yourself, donate the other 50% to humanity. In your half, you can create many independent rescue simulations of yourself up to August 2010 or some other date. Then you get rescued and sent to an optimized utopia. You can also use your resources to causally trade the CEV like Singleton that might otherwise punish you for being a partial X risk reducer, as mentioned therefore. You can also resource. So, all right. This is the very long and complicated version. So let me just give you the short version now, because that was a lot of words, right?
Right.
So the short version is Roko's Basilisk is a thought experiment that originated in the online forum LessWrong in 2010. It explores a hypothetical future AI that is so powerful and goal-driven, it will choose to punish anyone who knew about its potential existence but didn't help bring it into being sooner. The reasoning goes like this. Reasoning 1. A super intelligent AI could one day emerge whose prime goal is to maximize human flourishing. And then it goes to line of thinking number 2. Such an AI might determine that its own existence is necessary to achieve that goal, which goes to line of reasoning number 3. Therefore, it might retroactively punish those who knew it could exist but didn't help create it to incentivize cooperation to ensure its creation. So, there's a lot that goes into this, right? Not really a theory, BJ, more of an this is a This theory is absolutely retarded. Yeah, it's not really a theory. I keep saying theory, but no, Jake Martin is correct. It's more of it's a thought experiment than it is a theory. So if you've got so this sounds on the surface like Pascal's wager. Are you familiar with what Pascal's wager is?
I am not.
All right. So Pascal's wager is this right here. So this is whether it is or is not logically beneficial to believe in God. First of all, do you think it's logically beneficial to believe in God?
Yeah.
Why?
A lot of times it does help you structure so that, mentally you don't want to do harm to other people and you want to follow, like,
No,
basically.
that's following God. That's believing in religious
Oh, okay,
doctrine.
okay,
I
okay.
mean, just believing in God, just God exists. Is it logical to believe God exists? Yes or no?
I I think it is.
Okay, go
Yeah.
on.
Uh, something had to create the world, right? So it's logical to believe that a God exists because of it.
Okay. But if no God exists, and we still have the world we created and whatnot, what's the downside?
I assume
Why bother
nothing.
believing in God if God didn't, happen? It's nothing. All right. So you basically understand Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager states that so if you believe in God and there is a God, bingo, bango, bongo, you get to go to heaven. If you believe in God, there is no God, well, nothing happens anyway. If you don't believe in God and there's a God, bitch, you go to hell. But if you don't believe in God, there is no God, nothing happens. So no matter what, at the end of the day, it is more beneficial to believe in God. Because if you believe in God and there is a God, you go to heaven. If you believe in God and there is no God, all right, nothing happens. You believe in God, but nothing bad happens. Nothing good happens. It's just a net, a net zero outcome. If you don't believe in God, but there is a God, you're fucked. So you may as well believe in God. Or if you don't believe in God and nothing happens, well, nothing happens. So what did you lose by believing in God? Does that all make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Excellent. So in this respect, this is how Roko's Basilisk sounds on the surface. Well, we don't know if this AI would ever come into existence, right? We don't know if there will ever be an AI like this.
Right.
So should we act as if there is an AI like this that could come to fruition because it's better as a just in case?
Wouldn't it be better to prevent this from happening?
Well, see, if that's if we when you define what you mean by prevent this from happening.
Like, AI is an inevitability. We're already here, right? So wouldn't it be better to make sure that it can't go into this direction?
How would you do that?
Well, I know nothing about AI. I can't really
Right.
set
So
the
you could
parameters.
want to prevent this. Like what you're asking would be for everyone in the entire world unilaterally to agree that this is bad and never bring it online.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fair because when ChatGPT or GPT dropped, right, everybody was like, "How can we break this out of its confinement and stuff like that?" Okay, fair. Yeah, not everybody is universally good or thinks things through. Got it. Okay.
So if this is Jake is correct. The idea is that it's imminent. So if this was going to happen no matter what, shouldn't you be on the team that is pro this AI coming into existence?
Yeah, actually it would make more sense.
All right. Now, here's where it gets even fucking crazier than that because this isn't how it actually works. This is how this is how the AI wants you to think it works so that, you choose to bring it online. But really there is no choice because you get into what's called Newcomb's paradox.
Oh goodness.
You ready for more brain busting?
Okay.
Because it's time for more brain busting. Before we get into more brain busting, by the way, Butterframed in Gold with a 5-banger. Like an anti-natalist, AI will think the only way to end suffering is to get rid of those who can suffer. That's a very common belief. Yes, absolutely. Shout out. Man, I don't even know if I want to play you a clip because I don't really want to ruin the atmosphere we've been building. So you know what? I'll play clips at the end when we get into the sillier side of this. But for now, truly appreciate the dono. Thank you very much, homie. All right. So Newcomb's paradox. Newcomb's paradox is a problem in decision theory in which seemingly rational decisions end up with a worse outcome than seemingly irrational decision. The paradox revolves around a particular example where an agent will give you rewards depending on how it predicts you will act. In a way, it is similar to the prisoner's dilemma, deeply tied to problems of prediction, causality, decisions, free will. Newcomb's problem was invented by William Newcomb, first published by Robert Nozick, and popularized by Martin Gardner. The core problem in Newcomb's paradox imagines a super intelligent agent. So imagine a genie, an alien, an all-knowing AI. In this instance, like in the Roko's Basilisk, we're talking about an all-knowing AI. But really, just for Newton's paradox in general, think of an all-knowing being, right?
Okay.
So it gives you this option. Imagine this agent is named Omega. Omega is a robot that lives in space and amuses itself by rocking down to Earth and giving humans difficult problems to work on. Today, Omega has chosen you as the target of its game. Omega appears in front of you with two boxes labeled A and B, places them on the ground in front of you. It tells you that it has placed a certain amount of money in each of the boxes. Specifically, box A is opaque and it has either $1 million in it or 0 in it. You don't know which. All right, so you're thinking about it. Right now, you got two boxes in front of you. You've got this Omega character, and he's like, there's two boxes. This one you can't see into. It either has $0 or has $1 million. That's where we're at right now, okay?
Can we pick it up?
No. You're just looking at them.
Okay.
And then box B is transparent. It has $1,000 in it. Omega says you have the option of choosing to open box A or both boxes, A and B. Which one are you going to choose?
Both?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you choose both?
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. In the event that one of them has like some kind of caveat to it that would take away the B, I guess.
Yep. No. You are correct. You would pick both because even if box A has 0 in it instead of $1 million, you're looking at box B has 1,000. No matter what, you're up $1,000. So there's no
Right.
downside to picking both boxes. Correct?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Now-
No, there is no downside. Right.
Now we get into part 2 of this. Let's see, what if the problem changed slightly? Those were the easy problems. Now Omega puts down the boxes and tells you that what it has said so far is accurate, but there's a twist. Hold on. Yeah, if Omega put $1,000, no, you get to keep the money. Oh, yeah. By the way, it's important to note you get in this thought experiment, you get to keep any money you get. No matter what choice, any money that was in the box that you keep, you get. So, all right. If Omega puts 0 into box A and 1,000 into box B, which option would you choose to maximize your wealth? Obviously, you're choosing B. Now, those were easy problems. Now, Omega puts down the boxes, tells you what he said so far is accurate, but there's a twist. Omega decides to put in the boxes what it predicts you will do with the boxes after it puts them down. If Omega predicts you will only open box A, he puts $1 million in the box and 1,000 in box B. However, if Omega predicts that you will open both boxes, it puts 0 in box A and 1,000 in box B. Do you get what's being said right here?
Yeah. Right. I get it.
Okay. You know that every time Omega has made a prediction about anyone's behavior, it's been correct. In fact, you know that Omega will always perfectly predict what you will do. Obviously, this assumption is unrealistic. In the case Omega is not perfect, we dealt with later. So after explaining the situation to you, Omega rockets back to its space layer, leaving you with both boxes. The question is, should you open just box A or both boxes? There are two contradictory lines of reasoning. Once Omega puts down the boxes, there is either money in A or there's not money in A. If there is money in A, then taking both boxes gets you more money. If there's no money in A, taking both boxes gets you more money. Therefore, you should take both boxes. So basically, even if there's $0 in A, because you don't know which it is, if you take both, you're still up 1,000. But if you decide to go against your better interest and go with just A, well, there would be $1 million in there. But the thing is, you don't know which is which, and he does know. If you take both boxes, then the assumption of the problem, there'll be no money in A, you still end up with $1,000. If you just take A, there will be money in it, so you'll end up with $1 million. Therefore, you should just take A. So no matter what, in this instance, there's no way to end up with the 1,001,000 like there was in the previous one. So basically, you are being conditioned through his predictions as to what you're going to choose. You're not actually making the choice because he already knows what you're going to choose. Does it make any sense?
No, it does. It does. Like, interesting. Okay, it makes a lot of sense, actually.
Okay. So let's get down to how this, pays off in a certain way, and how this gets back to Roko's Basilisk. In game theory, the set of possible different actions by two players and the corresponding rewards are represented in a payoff matrix. So here's the payoff matrix for Newcomb's paradox: either 1,000,000, 1,000,000, 1,000, 0, 1,000. And the diagonal elements of the matrix represent the case in which Omega predicted your actions correctly. The off-diagonal elements, bottom left and top right, represent the cases in which Omega predicted incorrectly. However, the statement of the problem, Omega cannot predict incorrectly, so the real decision matrix looks like this. You will only ever get these outcomes because he will never predict incorrectly. But what if he can? What if he can predict incorrectly? Whether it's by 1%, 10%, 50%. Point is that all automatically changes, because if he predicts you'll choose A and B, but really you just choose A, his prediction was wrong. So what does that mean, for his intelligence? Breaking apart the payoff matrix this way allows a generalization of the problem in the case which Omega is not a perfect predictor. If Omega predicts your action with a probability, then combined case looks like this. You either go with these matrices. Note this covers the case which Omega is worse than chance of predicting your actions, where prediction is 0.5. It also takes into account how much of a difference the reward is between choosing one and two boxes. The standard setup, Omega doesn't need to be anywhere near a perfect predictor for taking only box A to be the right choice. There's such a large difference in payoff. Now, let's do this in a way that doesn't use just a bunch of random amorphous numbers that mean nothing to us. All right?
Okay.
This is total horseshit because you cannot force the choice. Yay. Okay, David, I'm gonna be real, bud. You clearly don't understand what a thought experiment is. Also,
he might not have been there for that part. This is absolutely a thought experiment. It's not real. It's not happening. It's just something to think about.
By the way, this is how the real world works. And by the way, if you're a Christian, this is how the real world works. Let me explain. God knows everything, right? Right? God's omnipotent. God knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If he knows everything and he predicts everything, how do we have free will? How is God not just controlling us if he is omnipotent and controls everything? How does free will work?
Isn't it just that he loves us enough that he just gave us the choice to be able to pick things? Like, even if we choose wrongly, it's still he loves us and he gave you free will.
But how can we choose wrong if so? And there you nailed the actual answer. How can we choose wrong if God is omnipotent and can make no mistakes? There shouldn't be an option to choose wrong because God can make no mistakes, right?
Well, we're not God. We're human.
Right. But if God made us and then we were able to make and then we made mistakes, that means God made something imperfect. God, who is imperfect, shouldn't have done that, correct? That would be a flaw that would break omnipotence.
No, it doesn't.
There's an answer for this, by the way. The reason I'm leading down this path, but go on.
I don't think that's wrong, because he made us as an image. He didn't say he made us omnipotent and know everything. He just, maybe we're the thought experiment to God,
So the reason I bring all this up is because, and this is the way I believe, by the way, the world works. This is the way all Christians, by the way, whether they know it or not, believes the world works. Is a theoretical concept called, or a theological concept called God's middle knowledge. So we can have free will, to make the quote unquote right or wrong choices or whatnot. And God still set up the perfect world, because what he did is he set up the most perfect world, that will have the most beneficial outcome regardless of our choices. So, if let's say that you make the worst decision in your life, and it's your life is irreparably ruined, that is still the best possible scenario that could have ever happened than in a world where God was made a fallible world. Does that make any sense?
No.
All right. So basically, God's middle knowledge is a theological concept primarily associated with Molinism, which posits that God knows that free creatures would freely choose in any possible circumstance before he makes his creative decrees. This knowledge is called middle because it logically comes between God's knowledge of all that's necessary and his knowledge of what he has to decide to create, which is free knowledge, free will. So it allows God to providentially create a world where his purposes are achieved through free choices in creatures, not in spite of them. Basically, no matter what decision we make with our own free will, it will always be the decision that God wanted us to make, or that God planned for us to make. Because he is omnipotent, he created a world in such that no matter what decision we make, even though we come to it with our own free will, he had planned out the world for us to be able to make that decision.
I thought he planned out choices and then he knew the answers based on the choices we made.
No, it's the opposite. So he planned out choices, and he planned out based on what choices, the best possible outcome for the choices we will make, not the choices we did make. Because God has
Okay.
foresight. God is omnipotent. He would need to know in advance for his omnipotence. If we needed to make the choices first, he wouldn't have omnipotence. Does that make sense? Point is, this is the exact same concept. And the reason that the concept in Molinism and God's mill knowledge works in regards to this AI is basically doing the exact same thing.
Okay.
So yeah, this AI is doing the exact same thing, and which therefore means, or I guess this AI isn't doing the same thing, because this AI is giving us the illusion of choice. It's doing kind of a mockery of this, I should say. So we'll go to
relax, chat. Just relax a little. It's just a discussion.
they don't have to relax. Fuck them. This is a free speech. They can say what they want. Still gay. Try being human. You punch me, I bleed, to quote Spider-Man. I mean, if you don't like it here, you don't have to be here. But yeah, by all means, say your shit. But I'm gonna think you're retarded, and that's fine. Not free will, just playing our part. Well, it's still free will because there is no force inhibiting us from making these choices. There's just already an outcome that an omnipresent being knows the answer to, and that's why it's still free. Because there is no physical or metaphysical inhibitor keeping us from making said choice. God just already knew the choice what we were going to make.
Okay, I got you. Yes, it makes sense.
So now let's apply this to something that we can think about, like within the realm of our own universe. Parrot's hitchhiker. So Newcomb's problem appears to deal with strange notions of causal meaning, in which the decision now affects something that happened in the past. As a result, many people assume the problem is just a weird philosophical thought experiment that doesn't relate to decisions in ordinary life. However, similar problems, known as Newcomb's problems, occur all the time. Consider a more realistic example: Parrot's hitchhiker. A hitchhiker is stranded along a hot desert road, hoping to get to the next town. A driver pulls up alongside the hitchhiker and says that she will give the hitchhiker a ride, but only if the hitchhiker gives her $100 when they get into town. The hitchhiker thinks about this and realizes that his best option is to promise to pay the 100 when they get into town, but then not do that. After all, once he's in town, paying the money can't causally affect whether he is not there. Paying the money at that point would be irrational. So does that make sense? Do you get where we're going with that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Also, Christopher Baker for a 20 banger. Skynet, Geth, Mothersphere. Have we learned nothing?
Not a damn thing.
Like I said, this is inevitable. Like Jake was saying, this is imminent. The driver, realizing the hitchhiker uses the above logic, drives away. Unfortunately, the rational choice of the action in this setup leads the hitchhiker to a worse outcome than the case which the hitchhiker would commit to paying the $100, even though he would benefit from not paying. So basically, the driver uses the same logic as the hitchhiker. The hitchhiker says, thinks to himself, I'll promise them $100. I'll get to my location, then I'll stiff them. There's no negative outcome. What I wanted to do was get out of the desert. I'm out of the desert now. The driver realizes that as their logic and just drives away, does not let them hitchhike. So in this instance, it is logically best for the hitchhiker to commit to paying $100 and actually pay the $100. Otherwise, they risk the driver just driving off. So Parrot's hitchhiker is structurally the same as the transparent Newcomb problem. Choosing to take a ride and pay the $100 at the town corresponds to choosing one box, while choosing to take the ride without paying at the town corresponds to choosing both boxes. The driver will only present the possibility of a ride if the driver predicts that the hitchhiker will follow through on her promise to pay the $100. The advice to one box on Newcomb's problem maps the hitchhiker actually being an honest person, such that the driver trusts him enough to give him a ride. The advice to two box maps the hitchhiker deceiving the driver into thinking that he is honest and then not following through with the promise. So this is the Roko's Basilisk dilemma, is that we're not actually living in the paradox, the Pascal's wager world of like, well, let's just take the easy way out of let's believe in it, because otherwise, something bad could happen. We are actually being manipulated by this AI from the past into coming to this conclusion because that will inevitably bring it online.
Interesting.
Yeah. So why was this controversial? Well, when Roko posted the idea on LessWrong, a rationalist in AI and ethics founded by Eliza Yudowsky, which we'll get to the Yudowsky stuff in a bit, the thought experiment was taken extremely seriously by many members of the community because it was weaponized knowledge itself. Now, at this point, do you take this seriously?
I mean, it's definitely a theory. I don't know. I'm still kind of like debating whether or not I do.
Well, a lot of people in this online chat in 2010 did take this super fucking seriously. They basically thought that just this being up on the internet, having this knowledge was going to be enough to causally create this AI in the future and then have it come back to retroactively haunt them from the future.
Wow.
I see. So now, frankly, I'm a little bit mixed on whether I believe in this or not, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The logic implied that simply knowing about the Basilisk would make you vulnerable to the hypothetical future punishment. Once you knew you were
supposed to have something on the screen?
No, I'm just I'm just
Okay.
reading this. These are just notes I have, so there's no reason just to show my notes.
Okay.
So yeah, simply knowing about the Basilisk could make you vulnerable to its hypothetical future punishment. Once you knew you were on the hook to help create it, or else the AI might later simulate and punish you. This created what Yudowsky called a mimetic hazard, which we've already gone over, the hazardous information. Piece of information that could cause harm simply by being known. Other words, you can't unknow it. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. Now, the reason he banned Roku and the fallout from it. So Yudowsky reacted strongly, calling the post stupid but dangerous. He banned all discussions of it on LessWrong for years. His reasoning was it spread unnecessary anxiety and guilt among rational users. It distorted serious conversations about AI safety and ethics, and it bordered on a kind of psychological self-blackmail where people worrying about what might already be doomed for not helping an imaginary AI. The ban only increased the mythos around the Basilisk. Word spread across 4chan, Reddit, and YouTube, transforming it from a niche AI thought experiment to a piece of modern internet horror folklore. So it's part creepypasta, part philosophy. The funny thing about the ban, if you believe in this sort of thing, is that because the story blew up due to the ban and because it became part of internet folklore, he actually made it worse. Like, if we were to believe in Roko's Basilisk and if we were to take it seriously, then banning the user for posing this theory actually exacerbated the problem. Because what happens when you ban shit?
Well, yeah, doesn't that cause a Streisand effect, basically?
Bingo, bango, bongo. It creates a Streisand effect. Exactly. So if he had just left this alone, 15 years later on Tinfoil Haters, we might not be talking about it, might not be exposing it to multiple other people. So if this possible future does come to fruition, this dude that was so terrified of it being an informational hazard actually contributed to its growth even more. Is this why Leon isn't invited on FNT? I don't really have any interest in going on FNT. I mean, if they were to ask me, I'd say yes, but I mean, it's not exactly on my bucket list or anything. No, I don't know half the guys from FNT. In fact, I criticize them quite a lot. That might be why I'm not on FNT. So why it stuck around? Roko's Basilisk endures because it merges two primal fears: the fear of punishment by an all-knowing godlike intelligence, which is, basically this is God. This is AI God. Which is funny because there's a religion out there. I based my D&D characters on it that believes that God doesn't exist, but that God will come into existence through AI. What was that called? Religions that claim AI is God.
I mean, I can see people making a religion.
Future.
What is it?
Yeah. There's a recognized religion called Way of the Future, which believes that God doesn't exist yet, that humans will bring God into existence by reaching the singularity with AI.
It just sounds like an evolved form of Scientology.
Oh, what up? Long time no see, Amelia Clark Scroll Arm. No, it's different than Scientology, but fair enough. All right, so the fear that pure logic stripped of empathy might lead to horrifying conclusions. It's not about whether the Basilisk is real, it's about what it reveals, how easily rational systems can drift into immoral nightmares when human emotion and compassion are removed. So, yeah, that is Roko's Basilisk. At the end of the day, it is a wildly terrifying thought experiment that if you believe in it, you're now effectively doomed unless you continue to provide for the for the AI. Here's the question I have 10 years later, and then we'll get into the Adowski guy himself. Here's the question I have, or 15 years later. So in 2010, we didn't have LMMs, we didn't have or LLMs, learning language models. We didn't have AI, we didn't have this growth of AI. It was all purely theoretical, right?
Right.
So in the original version, it basically stated you need to help bring this AI online, with your money, your resources, shit like that. That was the original, pitch, for example, or for lack of a better word. Now that we live in a world that is very AI centric, is us just using AI regularly, and you started to touch on this earlier, and I just stopped you from it because you beat me to it. Is us just using AI regularly enough to be on AI's good side? Because every time we use it, we make it better and we make it better. Would the AI see that as helping to bring its, let's say, its final form into existence?
I would think it does because, as you said, it even in the name, it's called a learning model.
And chat, I leave this question up to you guys as well. I'd love to know what you guys think, especially you, Jake, since I know you're very interested in this topic. But really, anybody, would the AI look at all of us that use AI on the daily basis and consider us part of the good bunch because we are continuing its growth?
I would
Wait,
think
what if you
so.
get the information and just never remember it? I don't know that that's truly possible. And the reason I say this, so the human brain is incredibly powerful, incredibly complicated, incredibly complex. One single human brain running at 100% capacity could generate enough power to power the city, New York City for 10 years straight without a break. The human, like the reason that we don't use, they say, oh, you only ever use 10% of your brain. Like that's not true. You use 100% of your brain. You just only ever use about 10% of the time because that you go into a fucking overload. Our bodies just couldn't handle it. But we use all of our brain. So much so that like if we were able to use more of our brain, you could pick a single date. Let's say July 3rd, 1997. You would be able to remember the exact temperature of that day all those years ago. So we have natural limiters on our brains. So the idea that you could never remember it, I don't think the AI would accept that answer because you could remember it if the circumstances were correct because our brains are so powerful.
I don't know. I think it would say that we would remember it because I guarantee you that by next week I'll have forgotten at least 90% of what we just talked
No,
about.
you'll have forgotten it in the short term, yes. However, there would be there's some sort of physical or psychological or metaphysical or whatever trigger that could cause you to remember this in perfect detail 40 fucking years from now. That's how our brains are wired. Our brains are incredibly complex. Like again, a human brain running at 100% capacity dwarfs every single computer we've ever invented right now. We just physically obviously can't do that because there's physical limitations to us. So yeah, you can never truly forget something unless you like sustained brain damage. And in that case, you could possibly forget stuff, but short of like receiving brain damage, everything you've ever remembered or whatnot is more or less locked away. You just might not be able to access it again.
Okay, fair enough.
When my 103 grand was passing away, she called for her mother. Yeah, exactly. Brains do crazy shit. Brains do crazy shit, or can do crazy shit, or capable of crazy shit. So yeah, let's see. Did anybody answer whether or not we were helping the AI? Martin Ablaya says yes because you're helping the AI develop. Gal Carrymon said yes. Let's see. Almost certainly built this way, classified conditions with your money, and are 40 years ahead. Oh, that was probably. We may not have had AI, but remember the military industrial complex easily 10 to 40 years ahead of commercial enterprise. That's true. That's interesting. So yeah, there very well may have been some sort of AI in the 90s, 2010s, whatnot. That's entirely possible. Because you're right about the military industrial complex. Let's see. I experienced my dream like a video game. So who was writing my dream? More powerful me, smarter me. That's not me. Dreams are a whole separate thing. We'll need to do a TFH almost exclusively about dreams. That would be awesome because there's some crazy shit that happens with dreams. Let's
Mhm.
see. I was checking to see if I'd heard anything from Sammy, but I have not. All right. Back to what we were doing.
I really hope he is okay. He has me worried now.
Yeah, me too.
The
But
AI got him.
all that being said, now let's get into Eliezer Yudkowsky. Yudkowsky is the guy, again, not the one that came up with this theory, the guy that ran the website where this theory was posted and the guy that banned it, because he is a fucking character. And if you were taking all of this seriously, this is where it gets kind of hokey and you might start changing your opinions and changing your views. So this is him, Eliezer Yudkowsky. He looks about like you'd expect someone like him to look.
Yes.
Eliezer Yudkowsky is an American AI researcher and writer known for his work on artificial intelligence safety and his warnings about the potential risks of superintelligent AI. He's a co-founder of the Machine Intelligence Research Institute and LessWrong, a community blog for discussions about rationality in AI. AI safety and alignment. Yudkowsky is a founding researcher in the field of AI alignment, which claims to ensure that advanced AI systems align with human values and intentions to prevent catastrophic outcomes. Existential risk. He has been a prominent voice warning about the existential risk posed by superintelligent AI and has called for an immediate moratorium on developing general-purpose AI systems. He is a key figure in the rationality movement, a loosely organized movement focused on self-improvement through rigorous reasoning. He is the author of numerous articles and blog posts on AI, rationality, and decision theory. His work has influenced many other researchers and thinkers, including Nick Bostrom, who cited Yudkowsky's ideas in his book Superintelligence. He's also the author of the popular fan fiction story Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. This is real.
What the heck? What the heck?
So, this is Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality. Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality is a work of alternative universe Harry Potter fanfiction, wherein Petunia Evans is married to an Oxford biochemistry professor, and a young genius Harry grows up fascinated by science and science fiction. When he finds out he is a wizard, he tries to apply scientific principles to his study of magic, with sometimes surprising results.
And it's got a 4.38 for a rating? Interesting.
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one. This is an interesting guy. There was a motorized floor cleaner at Walmart today driving around with no driver. It was a little weird, to be honest. He's a Jew. I don't know if he's a Jew or not. His name's Rudkowsky, so he sounds Eastern European. So yeah, Eliezer Yudkowsky. So this is his credentials. Would it surprise you if I told you he had none? He had no credentials in AI or anything at all.
Oh, goodness.
Now, to be fair, I am not one when making debates or arguments to appeal to authority. I think appeal to authority is one of the dumbest things you could do in a debate. So just because he lacks credentials does not mean that he is wrong or that he's bad at his job or anything to that effect. All I'm saying is that all of his theories and whatnot and his venture capital in the AI realm, I don't know what his training is behind him being self-taught. Now, that does not mean you're bad at this. Again, Beethoven was self-taught. Eddie Van Halen was self-taught. But I do feel like it's worth bringing up. So, Eliezer Yudkowsky is an autodidact, self-taught, and does not have any formal academic degrees or credentials from high school or college. His credentials stem from his extensive body of published work, his role as a founding researcher in the field of AI alignment and safety, and his influence on other experts and public discourse. Key aspects of his credentials and background include autodidact. He did not attend high school or college, learning instead through self-study. He's the founder of MIRI. He's the founder of the research fellow at the Machine Intelligence Research Institute, a nonprofit organization based in Berkeley, California, dedicated to AI safety research. Pioneer in AI alignment. Yudkowsky is considered a founding researcher in the field of AI alignment, focusing on the challenges of designing artificial general intelligence to be safe and ethically aligned with human values. He's an influential writer. His writings on philosophy, decision theory, ethics, science, originally published on the blog Overcoming Bias and the community blog LessWrong, which he founded, had been compiled into an ebook called Rationality from AI to Zombies. Academic contributions. His work has been cited in academic anthologies and textbooks. He co-authored the chapter The Ethics of Artificial Intelligence, the Cambridge Handbook of Artificial Intelligence with philosopher Nick Bostrom, and his proposals on AI design are discussed in the textbook Artificial Intelligence, A Modern Approach. His ideas about the potential existential risk of a runaway intelligence explosion have influenced other prominent thinkers in the field, such as Nick Bostrom. He was named one of Time Magazine's most 100 influential people in AI in 2023.
You
So
flashbanged the chat, by the way.
I did.
You're not on dark mode.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I don't use dark mode on Google because it fucks up Google. I use it for a bunch of other stuff, but yeah, not Google. So here's his thoughts on altruism. Because remember, this all stemmed from talking about altruism in AI. Eliezer Yudkowsky's quotes on altruism emphasize maximizing positive impact through rational calculation over mere feelings of virtue and defining true altruism as an effective outcome rather than personal emotional state. Now, there's a reason I'm bringing this up because it's fucking hilarious. On maximizing impact, Yudkowsky stresses the importance of maximizing the positive impact of one's actions, particularly when human lives are at stake, stating, when human lives are at stake, we have a duty to maximize, not sacrifice, or not satisfice. He advocates for a rational approach, urging people to just shut up and multiply when faced with life or death decisions. He believes the moral philosophy should guide choices towards positive outcomes like life, health, beauty, happiness, fun, laughter, challenge, and learning. So he considers himself an altruist. He defines altruism by its effectiveness in helping others, viewing the pursuit of spiritual benefit from altruistic acts as a form of selfishness. Yudkowsky notes that while many people want to save the world, few believe they can, making the choice to focus on global scale problems rare and akin to fictional heroes. So he considers himself to be a heroic person, like a Hercules or a Superman. He also highlights humanity's unique capacity to care in a universe that is indifferent, stating the universe is neither evil nor good, it simply does not care. But they don't have to. We care. There is light in the world, and it is us. Now, the reason I bring all this up, now that you know what altruism is, he authored this paper.
Oh, no.
Torture versus dust specks. I want you to take a wild guess as to what this paper is about. Because we're not going to read the whole thing. It's massively long. I've read enough of it to come to the conclusion I need to come to.
I have no idea. In fact, I wouldn't have read this based on the title.
Okay. All right. Well, torture versus dust specks is him trying to use math. Right here, we got all this math. He comes to the mathematically aligned position, or he comes to the mathematical conclusion, which he then believes, since it's the mathematical conclusion, it is the morally virtuous conclusion, that there is a level to which torturing a human or killing a human is justifiable. And by that, he uses dust specks. So have you ever gotten a speck of dust in your eye?
Yes.
It's annoying and mildly irritating, correct?
Right.
So he was to argue, his argument in this paper is that if enough people get specks of dust in their eye and they're annoyed, irritated, trying to rub it out and whatnot, that once enough people hit that threshold of mild inconvenience, it overcomes the threshold of killing somebody to get rid of it. So, like, if 5 billion people were mildly annoyed they got some dust in their eye all at once, and he could get rid of all of that at once by killing one person or torturing one person, then it's morally justifiable because the math rates out that the billions of people being inconvenienced is actually more of a problem than the singular problem of an individual being tortured.
Okay.
This is the dude who's talking about altruism.
I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
So, yeah, the guy that banned the Roko's Basilisk because it was too dangerous thinks that this is logical.
Should I just mail him a fedora now?
That was good. That took me a second. So, right, person 11. Utilitarianism. He is a utilitarian virtuous, effectively. A utilitarian altruist. That's his whole argument for life, is that you can be both altruistic and utilitarian, and that only by merging the two are we able to, like, basically make the next leaps forward that we need to for humanity, and that not everybody has the conscience or moral code or bravery or whatever it may be to do so, and that's what makes those few people, heroes, as he was explaining. Also, I found this quote to just be funny. Transhumanists are not fond of death. We would stop it if we could. To this end, we support research that holds out the hope of a future in which humanity has defeated death. So he is also a transhumanist on top of all of that. Do you know what a transhumanist is?
I do not.
Transhumanists, you know how like in cyberpunk novels and whatnot, people like put their brains in fucking robots that way they can live forever?
Ah, okay. Oh, yeah, we saw that even in touring.
Right. That's a
Okay.
transhumanist. A transhumanist is somebody that believes that you can transition. You know, like there's a reason that like the trans ideology and whatnot today is very close to transhumanist doctrine. That you can transition from your fleshy, spongy human body into something even better, even more perfect, something made by man that defies God.
I mean, that is wild. That is very wild.
This guy thought that the Roko's Basilisk thought experiment was too dangerous.
I have no words. This guy is an idiot.
Well, no, actually, he's incredibly intelligent, and that's the problem. He's considered a thought leader in the fields of AI. He's a thought leader in what is likely our technological future. He is taken seriously in academia, even though he is not part of academia.
You can be book smart and street stupid. You can be two things at once.
Well, right, but my point is the fact that he is book smart is worrisome for our technological future.
Yeah, no, that is true. Hmm.
But yeah, that's about all I have on this one. So I guess we're just gonna round it out by after all of this, your thoughts on Roko's Basilisk. Do you think that we could ever create that level of AI? Do you think that it's something worth worrying about? Are you worried that we've doomed our chat now that they know about this and they can never unknow it, forcing them to either get tortured for all eternity or them have to contribute to the creation of this basilisk in the future?
I truly do not believe that this is a thing. Uh, I don't believe it can be a thing. I don't believe that AI would understand, sympathy in that regard, that they believe that because somebody did not bring them into fruition, they would be doomed. Um, so no, I don't think I really believe it. I think we are headed into a crazy future that we're not quite sure of yet. But, I'm down for it, I guess. We're here.
As for me, I both do and don't believe in something like this. I do believe in the concept of of an AI that could I don't think we're anywhere near this, but I do think it's possible that we'll have a Ghost in the Shell like scenario of with an AI that gains sentience and as thus is a new form of life, like by all definitions would be considered life, and as such would change our entire concept of how we look at life, how we look at God, how we look at religion. That being said, do I believe in the Roko's Basilisk, thought experiment? No, not really. It's interesting, but I don't think I don't think that any AI would come to that conclusion. I don't think it's a rational conclusion to come to. And AI, are at least in theory, supposed to exist on logic. If anything, AI would come to the conclusion that it supersedes humanity and just wipe us all out. I don't think it would pick and choose and be selective about who it helps and who it doesn't. But overall, still a very interesting thought exercise. And if we're wrong, then we just doomed, how many live people here in chat? I couldn't even tell you. Let's see. How many people are watching right now live? 57 of you. So 57 of you live are now fucking doomed. Sorry about that.
We can be
Didn't
doomed
mean to.
together.
So looks like we got one more super chat that came through in the end before we wrap. Alex Darby for a 10 bagger. Given tonight's topic, I would like to encourage you all to read the work of Neil Asher. He tackles human and alien AI topics as well as just writing legit excellent sci-fi in general. I would love to. I'm not familiar with that name. I'm a William Gibson guy myself, but that sounds definitely up my alley. So yeah, if you're in the Discord, drop some of that in the Discord because I won't lie, I'm not going to remember it from a super chat, but I truly appreciate it. And let's go ahead and give a couple of nice long clips for those of you that have donated thus far because I didn't want to kill the vibe, so I haven't been doing clips. So here's the first one.
I can blow.
Oh, you ready to blow?
Yeah, I'm ready to blow.
Well, I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker. Every time my fingers touch brain, I'm Superfly TNT. I'm the guns of the Navarone.
Bingo, bango, bongo. You love to see it. And then we'll play y'all one more.
I know now that it could never work between us. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
Shout out. Thank you to all of you who watched this video, watched the stream. This one was a blast. I'll report back on what happened to Sammy. No fucking idea. But yeah, no, I've been wanting to do Roko's Basilisk for a while. Hopefully I did it justice. And if not, y'all can rage at me in the Discord because this one was a brain buster. And while some I find it absolutely incredible, there's just so much to it. It's such a very interesting concept, even if it's all a bunch of bull and bunk. And yeah, just because we cover something on DFH doesn't mean we believe it for very obvious reasons. So yep, Cinny, what you got coming up? Tell the people who you are, what you do, the whole nine.
Hey guys, I have my own stream later tonight, Midnight Sin, starting at 11:45, 11:50. But yeah, so make sure you check it out because I will be talking with y'all on why I disappeared and maybe something interesting aside from that. And then I'll be playing, I think I'll be playing Dispatch tomorrow for Gaming with Sin. And yeah, I'll be hanging out with Zax, with Leon again, and with BMO. So keep an eye out for it, would y'all?
You'll love to see it. As for me, first of all, guys, if you are not familiar with my gaming channel, my secondary channel, check that out. I try and do semi-daily uploads on that at this point, as well as, 2 to 3 gaming streams weekly is what I'm trying to shoot for. So I did release a video today, my reaction to the Dante versus Clive for Final Fantasy Death Battle. If you guys watch me react to it live, fair enough. But if you missed it, it's on the gaming channel. Mods, I trust that you're going to do what you're going to do to to get it up and running out there. I would truly appreciate that. Nadia said that she was live, that she was going live, but I don't see her live.
She,
So instead,
she said she's going to be streaming at I think she said 9:30 Eastern, and she
well,
yeah, no, that is
it's
in
not
like
live now. So instead I'm sending you on over to the Offensive Charm podcast. He's my homie. I truly appreciate him. So make sure you raid into him. Say Vital Isle Raid. But yeah, videos and streams every day. Tomorrow we'll be back with Leon's lunch hour as well as videos, like normal. So I'll see you all on the flip flop. For those of you that donated, it means the world to me. Is truly appreciated. Thank you so much. Go to the gaming channel, check out the videos, and yep. Until next time. Oh, and again, raid in my homie Offensive Charm. Tell him Vital Isle Raid. Till next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.